Today we'll know more about insurance and types of insurance in India. So first we'll begin with the overview of the Indian industry, insurance industry in India. So the very first insurance company established in India was the Oriental Life Insurance Company in the year 1818 to cater to the needs of the European community. As there was discrimination among Europeans and Indians, there was a need to have our own insurance company, so came up Bombay Mutual Life Assurance Society in the year 1870. It became the first Indian insurer. In the year 1912, Life Insurance Companies Act and the Provident Fund Act were passed to regulate the insurance business in India to have less discrimination and more benefits arising out of it. The oldest existing insurance company in India is the National Insurance Company, which was founded in the year 1906 and is still in the business. Later in the year 1956, life insurance sector was nationalized and LIC came into existence. Later in the year 1972, GIC business was nationalized and General Insurance Company was formed in the year 1973. 107 insurers were amalgamated and grouped into four companies, namely National Insurance Company Limited, New India Assurance Company Limited, Oriental Insurance Company Limited, and United India Insurance Company Limited. These were formed under GIC. So GIC had four subsidiary companies. With effect from December 2000, these subsidiaries were delinked from the parent company, and now these companies, that is Oriental Insurance Company, New India Assurance Company, National Insurance Company, and United Insurance Company, they are set up as independent insurance companies. FDI limit in the insurance sector has been raised to 74% according to the 2021 Union Budget. The Prime Minister has announced insurance repository system helping policyholders buy and maintain insurance policies in e-format rather than on paper. Insurance depositories like share depositories or mutual fund transfer agencies will hold electronic records on insurance policies issued to individuals as e-policies. We'll know more about the differences between the life insurance and general insurance. Life insurance is for the life, that is, the insurance company promises you to compensate the insured individual for uncertainties of life, that is, death. Life insurance provides protection against life risk, and it is not a contract of indemnity or guarantee, but it is considered as an investment. Benefits under the policy are paid on the occurrence of an insured event, that is death or any uncertainty, or on maturity. So it is a long-term contract depending upon the life of the individual. General insurance is an insurance which promises to compensate the insured individual or entity for the financial loss or damage caused due to an unfortunate event. So it is basically for the valuables, assets or properties, that is non-living things, which are near and dear to us. It is a contract of indemnity, so it is a short-term contract because each and everything has expiry. Financial loss caused due to the insured event is remembered on the occurrence of the particular event. Life insurance is classified into a variety of types. Let us have a look. That is whole life, term life, universal life, variable universal life, money back policies, ULIPs, pension, endowment, and accident cover. Similarly, general insurance is also classified into different types, that is motor, health, commercial, travel, property, mobile, marine, and heavy machines insurance. There are many more types. We'll discuss in detail about the types of life insurances first. So very first is whole life insurance. It offers life cover to the policyholder for his whole life or entire life, as the name suggests, till the time premium is paid. If the person passes away, beneficiary receives the maturity benefit. Those who want to remain insured for whole life, this is an ideal plan for them. Term life insurance is for a specified term period, and here the death benefit is received in the form of lump sum assured provided to the beneficiary if there is a certain demise. It is the most preferred policy as it is affordable and offers decent coverage. Next is universal life insurance. So a form of permanent insurance, meaning coverage can last for your lifetime as long as the premiums are paid, and it is not like term insurance which provides you benefit for a specified tenure. Next we have is variable universal life insurance. There are three variables to it, that is death benefit, cash value and premium. It is a permanent life insurance policy which provides coverage as long as the premiums are paid. Money back policies. Money back policies here means the insured person gets a percentage of sum assured at regular intervals instead of getting the lump sum amount at the end of the term. So it is an endowment plan with the benefit of liquidity. So here the person receives amount at the end of the period, which is sum assured plus bonus. United Linked Insurance Policies, or ULIP, is the one where the premium paid is half invested in insurance coverage and the rest is invested in market securities based on the policyholder's risk factor. The insurer diversifies the risk in the form of different instruments, that is equity, debt, or hybrid assets. So ULIPs have a lock-in period of 5 years, which allows you with the benefit of partial withdrawal, offers the benefit of life cover and opportunity to create a significant corpus for the future. Next is pension policy. So in the pension, we all know there is a pension plan contribution to an insurance undertaking in exchange for which the pension plan benefits will be paid to the members after attaining the retirement age or an earlier exit. Endowment plans, here in case of policyholders death, nominee receives the sum assured as death benefit. In case this person survives, then the person will get the amount on maturity along with the accumulated bonus. Accident cover is usually for qualifying injuries which might include broken limb, loss of limb, paralysis, etc. And in the event of accidental death, accident insurance pays out money to the designated beneficiary. Moving ahead with the general insurance, the very first type is motor insurance. So it is the policy which covers policyholder in case of financial losses resulting from an accidental or other damages sustained by the insured vehicle. Health insurance is again an insurance which provides coverage for medical expenses that arise due to illness, which could be hospitalization cost of medicines, or doctor consultation fees. Travel insurance is covering unforeseen losses incurred while traveling, either internationally or domestically, which covers medical expenses, lost luggage, flight cancellations, and other losses that a traveler can incur while traveling. Property insurance is an insurance against the physical goods, equipment, or your own home against the losses arising from theft, fire, wind, smoke, snow, lightning, etc., and other perils. Mobile insurance is, as the name suggests, for mobiles, as there is more chances of getting it stolen. So there are also chances of stolen data and creating problems of financial issues as well. So the companies are providing insurance against such theft or accidental damage, including all smartphones. Machine insurance is usually for factories and industrialists. So machinery breakdown and any physical damage of the machinery, cost of repairs or replacement or damaged machine parts are covered under this insurance. Fire insurance is an insurance contract in which the company and the policyholder guarantees that any loss arising due to fire or incidents of accidental fire, lightning, explosion will be covered by the company. Marine insurance is a type of insurance policy that provides coverage against any damage or loss caused due to cargo vessels, ships, terminals, etc., in which the goods are transported from the point of origin to the point of destination. Next is commercial insurance, is a type of business insurance for industrial sectors. It is not limited to construction, manufacturing, telecom, textiles, or logistics, but the solution aims to offer a safety net for the business operations and assets when the need arises. It covers the business liability and workman compensation as well. The very important topic in the insurance subject is factors limiting the insurability of risk. Which are the factors which limit the insurability of risk? So the very first is moral hazard. Expected losses must depend on the insured behavior once policy is in force. So it must be costly to observe policyholders' behavior. Next is adverse selection. Insurer is unable to distinguish between groups with different expected losses, and higher risk individuals purchase more insurance rather than low risk individuals. Deductible here means insured pays losses up to the amount of deductible. Co-insurance, here the insured person pays a percent of losses. So it is a type of co-insurance as well. Next is pro rata clause. In the pro rata clause, when insured has multiple choices in force, the policies each pay a percentage of the claims rather than double coverage. Exclusion. So claims for specified occurrences are excluded from the coverage and specified occurrences are included. Premium loadings consist of administrative and capital cost. The insured can have burden of premiums, heavy premiums. So again, the it poses to be a limit for the insurability. Classification of risk. It is very important to understand the as we have seen the factors limiting the insurability of risk. We must understand what is risk and what is the classification of it. So risk are basically classified into different types. The very first is financial and non-financial, pure risk, fundamental, particular, and speculative risk. We'll know one by one in detail. So first we'll distinguish between financial and non-financial. As the name suggests, financial is measured in monetary terms so that the value can be assigned. Theft, material damage to assets or property, business loss or death of an individual are the examples here. Non-financial risk cannot be measured in monetary terms, so inappropriate choice-based risk, so it is not insurable in nature. For example, incorrect choice of property, car, career, etc. Pure risk is also called as absolute risk. It is measured in monetary terms, so it is insurable as well. It is a category of threat that is beyond human control and has only one possible outcome, that is loss, which includes natural disasters, fire, or untimely death. Speculative risk is a type of risk that when undertaken is an uncertain degree of gain or loss. That is, it can be gain, it can be loss, or it can be neutral. So gambling and investing in the stock market are the best examples here. Fundamental risk is a type of risk which is usually incurred by the entire economy, large number of people or groups, and it is now insurable. So example here is high inflation, unemployment, war, natural disasters like earthquake, floods, cyclones, etc. Particular risk depends upon the particular circumstances of an individual. So it is insurable risk which affects only individuals and not the entire community. Example is theft, accidents and fires. The very important topic in the insurance is reinsurance. Just like insurance, we have reinsurance. So the reinsurance term means it is a process whereby one entity takes all or part of the risk covered under a policy issued by an insurance company in consideration of a premium payment. The company will take over the risk covered under a policy by an insurance company in consideration of the premium paid. So it is a form of insurance cover for the insurance companies. There are two types of reinsurance. Very first is facultative reinsurance, which covers a single risk or defined package of risk. In contrast to it, we have treaty reinsurance, which agrees to cede all the risk to the reinsurer. That is, the ceding company agrees to cede all the risk. It agrees to cover all the risk even though the reinsurer has not performed individual underwriting for each policy. Now coming to the functions of reinsurance, very important to know the functions of reinsurance. It is unlike the insurance. Almost all companies have reinsurance program and the ultimate goal is to reduce the expenses by passing the risk to the other company. So with the reinsurance, the insurer can issue policies with high limits that would otherwise be allowed, thus being able to take more risk, and the risk is also transferred to reinsurer. So risk transfer is the very first function of it. Next is creating a manageable and profitable portfolio of insured risk. As the risk is already transferred, the person is in profitable position by choosing a particular type of reinsurance method. The company is able to create more balanced and homogeneous portfolio of insured risk. Insurers, reinsurers expertise is quite important function here because it helps us to set an appropriate premium amount in regard to specialized risk at time of uncertainties, and it can we can even apply for the expertise to the underwriting in order to protect the very own interest, and it is especially seen in the case of facultative reinsurance. Next is arbitrage. So the insurance company may be motivated by arbitrage in purchasing reinsurance coverage at a lower rate, then they can charge the insured for underlying risk. So whatever the class of insurance may be, arbitrage works best. Surplus relief here stands for The benefit which arises from the proportional treaties that provide the cedent company with surplus relief, so the capacity to write more business and at larger limits is availed. Income smoothing is a process here because reinsurance can make insurance company results more predictable by absorbing large losses. So the capital required to provide coverage is reduced. Risk is also spread and transferred. So the income smoothing arises because the loss of the cedant are limited now, which fosters stability in claim payouts and caps indemnification cost as well. So these were the functions of reinsurance company. There is an example here, that is GIC, which is a government-owned company in India, incorporated on 22nd November 1972 under Companies Act 1956. Registered office and headquarters is in Mumbai. It was a sole reinsurance company till the insurance market was open to foreign players in 2016, including companies from Germany, Switzerland, and France. The shares of the company are listed on BSE as well as NSE. Until 1999, there were no private insurance companies, so the government had to set up because there was a monopoly of earlier the European community. Then LIC was the sole player in the market. Then came GIC, and then the companies were merged into four. Again, the 107 insurers merged the company, so there was a need to of a regulator who can regulate all this. So in 1999, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority Act was passed to regulate the insurance domain as well as to deregulate it so that the private companies can enter in. So the Insurance and Development Authority of India is a regulatory body tasked with regulating and promoting insurance as well as reinsurance industries in India, consulted by the Act passed by the Government of India, headquartered in Hyderabad and Telangana. Moving towards the role of IRDAI, it monitors the investment of funds by insurance companies, specifies the qualifications, code of conduct, and training for intermediaries and agents, judges the disputes between insurers and intermediaries or insurance intermediaries, regulates the margin of solvency, regulates company investment of funds, specifying how books should be kept. All these are basic functions. It issues, renews, modifies, withdraws, suspends, or cancels registrations and protect policyholders' interest as well. Specifies the percentage of premium income to finance schemes for promoting and regulating professional organizations as well. Supervises the functioning of tariff advisory committee. Specifies the percentage of life and general insurance business undertaken in the rural and social sector. Governs the maintenance of margin of solvency. That is, at what margin the company can become solvent or the company can shut down. All these are the important roles played by the insurance regulator. So here comes a question based on that. Who is the insurance regulator, or dash is the regulator of insurance sector in India? Quite easy question. Give an example of reinsurance company in India. I hope you understood the video, and if you have understood it, do answer these questions in the comment section and stay tuned for more such videos.